This is the Dan Heck Chevrolet Toyota pregame show. Dan Heck Chevrolet Toyota, your complete transportation headquarters since 1958.
Welcome back to the Enloe Center at St. Anthony High School, Effingham and T-Town. Friday night high school basketball action. We're deciding who will play for fifth and who will play for third tomorrow, because here's what has happened. First of all, earlier in the week, each team went 1-1. That meant we had to, after we had told you that Mattoon and Highland were 2-0, 3-0, and 3-0 after today, and the fact that Tolono Unity and Okaw Valley went winless for the week so far, that helped us get everything set up. So anyway, today, Highland beat Tolono Unity 52-25. Then Mattoon went to 3-0. They beat Okaw Valley 66-27. And in the most recent game, Breeze Central beat Robinson 72-41. So that means on Saturday, the 3 o'clock game will be Tolono Unity and Okaw Valley. They're each 0-3. The championship game at 7:30 will be Highland and Mattoon. They're each 3-0. Now, sandwiched in between, the 4:30 game, that'll be Robinson against the loser of this game between Effingham and St. Anthony. And then the third place game at 6 o'clock, that'll be Breeze Central and the winner of this game. Actually, this is one of the more simple years we've had for sorting all that out.
It's been very complicated in the past. This year it worked out pretty well as far as it all is concerned. And if I did the math right, either way, between Highland or Mattoon, we're going to have our 8th different champion of this St. Anthony Thanksgiving tournament that started back in 2003. And neither Highland nor Mattoon has won the title. Mattoon's been in the title game one other time. Highland hasn't been playing in this tournament quite as long, and I don't honestly recall if they've been in the championship game before. It doesn't seem like they have been to me, but nonetheless, we're going to have a new champion of this Thanksgiving tournament. But these two teams are more concerned about who's going to get third place in this tournament, and in order to do that, they got to win tonight to get there.
That's the name of the game. If you win this game, you're in the 6 o'clock game tomorrow. If you lose this game, you're in the 4:30 game tomorrow. That's all that's left to be decided in this contest here between the Hearts and the Bulldogs. It's been fun. If you missed their games earlier this week, St. Anthony won on Monday night, beat Tolono Unity 51-37. Then on Tuesday night, Highland beat Effingham 61-55. But on Wednesday night, Effingham beat Tolono Unity 66-32. And Highland beat St. Anthony 59-51. Now you'll remember that Highland was up by 21 points and the Bulldogs got it down to 6 before they lost by 8. So should be very interesting. So anyway, St. Anthony and Effingham both check in here 1-1, and we'll know who's going to be playing for third and who's going to be playing for fifth after this game tonight. There are many other tournaments going on. My mercy, there are a lot of tournaments, boys and girls. I do know that St. Anthony's girls won their game at Robinson this morning. They're playing again this evening. Effingham girls playing over at Newton, and then a whole raft of other scores. My guess, knowing Brian Dust, he's already at work gathering scores to give us information, so he'll get us up to date on all of that at halftime. So we'll remind you that. Plus, don't forget, C.J. Schmidt's here. He's videotaping the game. He'll have it up on our social media sites and the Facebook page, and available for sale, too, or purchased by you, as the case might be. So keep that in mind as well. Nothing like a little keepsake if you have a Heart or a Bulldog in this mess tonight.
And it could be a game that you just want to have just because it's that good a game. And that's kind of what we expect when these two teams get together. So should be a lot of fun tonight here at the Enloe Center.
St. Anthony, mainly out of injury, has made a change in their starting lineup. We'll talk about that in a minute. And speaking of starters, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's take a break. Hearts and Bulldogs on the way here at the Effingham St. Anthony Thanksgiving Tournament on 97.9 XFM. And they're straight out of Compton down here in the Effingham cheering section. It's the cops and the criminals between the dog pound and the chamber. It's very interesting here tonight. And I'll tell you how big a game this is, Matt Robinson. They got the bleachers open.
Yeah, and they're being utilized as well. And I'm not saying we've risen to J.H. Griffin temperatures, but this place is warmed up compared to earlier in the week as far as the gymnasium. just with the amount of people here, and this is what's fun to see. Both of these schools coming out to support their programs very well tonight.
Helps when the temperatures are in the 50s outside.
That doesn't hurt. Everybody went home, took a nap after Black Friday shopping, said, let's go watch some basketball.
That's right. Except for those of us that stayed home watching Perry Mason and Matlock this morning. Anyway, we're hoping to have a good time tonight. A lot of people already have had a good time tonight, and we're looking forward to having you join us tonight. St. Anthony and Effingham, they've been playing in this tournament together since its creation, and of course, all this is going to be enhanced when Christmas time comes, because St. Anthony this season is joining the Effingham Teutopolis Christmas Classic. And then next year, this great tournament's going to even get better, because Teutopolis is joining the St. Anthony Thanksgiving Tournament. Holy cow, this is going to be fun.
The logistics of getting these teams together in tournaments like this is not as simple as just, hey, let's just join in with this tournament now that it's going on. And there's contracts, there's, all kinds of things that come into effect. And it's nice that after a few years with the Christmas Classic, that St. Anthony is able to work their way into it, and Teutopolis is able to not travel quite so far down to that Capital Classic, and now we'll be in the St. Anthony Thanksgiving Tournament starting next year. And like you say, you're just adding another top-notch program to what's already really, arguably, the best Thanksgiving tournament around.
And a shout out to Teutopolis. Chet Reeder had his first game as the Wooden Shoes coach today at the Capital Classic, last year for T-Town at the Capital Classic. And they play again tonight, I believe. I have my schedule right here in front of me. Why don't I check that? Take a breath, turn the page. Capital Classic. Yeah, they're playing right now, in fact, against Mount Carmel. They won their earlier game, beat Marshall 73-53. As we said, we'll be checking at halftime with Brian. He's going to have a mother load of scores for us. I mentioned about a change in the St. Anthony lineup. That's out of injury. I talked to Bryson Wall downstairs before the game. He said, I'm going to play. He's just not going to start. He's dealing with the left wrist. He's got it heavily taped again tonight. If you were listening Wednesday night, you might remember that he had to come out of the game, and the crew from Benuti's did some work on him to get him patched up, and it came back in, but it certainly affected his ability to handle the ball on Wednesday night. We'll see how it works on tonight, but he's not going to start, and Alex Brandenburger moves into the starting lineup for St. Anthony, and he's been a regular scorer for the Bulldogs in their first two games this year.
Yeah, you don't know if it's going to have any sort of a difference mentally as far as starting versus coming off the bench, but that would be the only thing you'd be concerned with, because Brandenburger has played just as many minutes as most of the starters throughout this St. Anthony couple of games of the St. Anthony Thanksgiving Tournament. And as far as Wall goes, you hate to see any kid injured, and he has had to deal with it more than almost anybody throughout his career. But I'm a senior. There's no way I'm missing this game, Coach.
Yeah, great kid, too, as they all are. So anyway, with that said, let's give you the starters for tonight. Effingham, of course, the visiting team. Tate Nieberge will get the start at the guard spot, the 5'10 junior. He has 10 tournament points. He scored 5 each game. Parker Wolf had a big game in the win on Wednesday night. The 5'10 sophomore has 30 tournament points. Cole Marksman, 6'8 senior, hasn't scored a lot. Didn't score in the Monday loss, or in the Tuesday loss, and then got 4 Wednesday night. So he'll be looking to break loose in a big way tonight. Nate Thompson has played really well. The 6'4 sophomore has scored 21 points in the Hearts' first 2 games and moved into the starting lineup in the second game, and he's back there tonight. And then, of course, Landon Wolf, the 6'4 senior. Landon has 47 tournament points. Those are the starters, the Wolf brothers, Nieberge, Marksman, and Nate Thompson. And I better use first names there because there's 3 Thompsons on the Hearts roster. Starters for the Bulldogs. Luke Ludwig, the 6'4 senior, has 8 tournament points. Jack Haney is a 6' junior with 13 tournament points. Jacob Dust, the 6'7 junior, with 24 tournament points. Caden Fearday, he of the 3/4 of the floor 3 the other night, has 24 tournament points. He's a 6'5 junior. And then Alex Brandenburger, as we said, the 6' senior, And Alex off the bench has 17 tournament points in the first 2 games, so he has done well. So those are the starters for tonight's game, and we're just about ready. Let's send it down to the floor, Mr. Dave Storm.